Aye.
Okay. With that, I would like to call the January 20th, 2026 regular meeting of the Genoa Charter Township Board to order at 6:30 p.m. I would ask that you all rise and join me for the invocation. Heavenly Father, we begin tonight's meeting by remembering Dr. King and thank you for his vision. We ask that you give us all the strength to overcome division and commit to upholding his dream of a unified and just society. As we tend to the people's business tonight, please guide us to productive discussions and reasoned decisions. We also ask that you lift those who are struggling in this bitter cold of winter. May your loving arms surround the vulnerable, and may your hand of provision guide them to unexpected blessings and resources. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you. Please remain standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May I get a roll call, Clerk Susie?
Sure. Walker.
Here.
Ryberg.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
Valenti.
Here.
Hobart.
Here.
Spicer.
Here.
Susie here.
Okay, we have quorum. And with that, I would like to open the call to the public at 6:31 p.m. If anybody would like to address the board?
Yeah, I did.
Hi, my name is Tom Sullivan. My wife and I live at 4596 Villafrance Drive in the Villas of Oak Point, adjacent to the driving range. I come to you this evening to seek your help in eliminating a dangerous circumstance. The net that the country club has installed along the range is neither long enough nor high enough to prevent balls from coming over, around, or through, resulting in an assault on our home and that of our neighbors along the range. This has caused broken windows, window frames, damage to roofs, decks, garden statuary, and even cars parked over the house on the other side of the range. In addition, balls have hit people on our properties. In 2024, a few of our neighbors and we counted the number of golf balls that landed on our properties. The number was about 750. Over many years, we brought this to the attention of OPCC and have either been ignored or given lip service. No solutions have been implemented. In 2025, we wrote to the parent companies of OPCC to seek relief. The township planner included a letter of support. Neither we nor she received any response. These balls come with significant speed and force. We are afraid that one of us, or perhaps our children or our grandchildren, will be struck by one of these balls and seriously injured. OPCC does not seem to be concerned, or perhaps values profit over safety. There's much more to this story. The supervisor, the planner, and the manager are aware of more of the details. We've spoken with them and they're working on it. But I would ask you to support their efforts and to do anything that you can do to get Oak Point Country Club to recognize its responsibility for this dangerous circumstance and to take appropriate action to mitigate the danger. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Would anybody else like to address the board?
Good evening. Happy New Year. And we're all looking forward to a wonderful, exciting new year of much progress and joy living in Genoa Township. My name is Ben Tassich, 3492 Lakewood Shores Drive, 25-year resident of this district. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Livingston County Transportation Coalition to invite you to our 5th annual Rosa Parks Transit Equity Day on February 4th at Cleary University. Please join us if you can so we can celebrate and recognize the wonderful work of our transportation department and the tireless effort and work and commitment to connect our residents to jobs, doctor's care, food shopping, religious and recreational activities. Last year, Genoa Township Board passed a proclamation recognizing the importance of Transit Equity Day and the importance of public transportation. And we're hopeful that this year you can do the same thing. Just if you change the date from the old one, that would, I think, suffice. The celebration lasts from 8 in the morning, a beautiful, wonderful breakfast, great conversation regarding public transportation, where we are we going, and how we're going to get there. Usually we're done by 10 o'clock. The quality of life can only be maintained and improved if the residents of the county have access to affordable and effective public transportation. Again, best of luck this year, and we look forward to seeing you on the 4th of February at the Cleary University. Thank you, and again, good luck this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Anybody else?
Can I speak about something that's on the agenda tonight? Hello, Deborah Beatty, 3109 Pineview Trail. It's about the Pulte property. And looking over the packet, I'm kind of surprised at what I'm reading. This would be on page 101, I believe, of the packet. And it's talking about the landscape buffer that we've talked with the Pulte people about for over a year. The 100-foot natural landscape buffer. I'm pointing out the natural word in there. But what I'm reading in this 100-foot buffer is that the residents that butt up to that 100-foot buffer, which by my count is 23 of them, will be able to do pretty much whatever they want in that buffer, if I'm understanding this that I'm reading. And if I'm not, then please clarify. But it looks like they can do everything to that natural buffer to change it to their will, except put a structure on it. So I don't think that was the idea when we discussed please save a 100-foot natural buffer in as many places as you can, but that is what I'm reading here. So I would like that clarified. And if it is the case that those 23 homeowners can manipulate that to their will, cut things down, add grass, shrubs, do whatever they want to it, then I think that needs to be changed tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Next. My name's Carl Mock. I'm at 6305 Catalpa and been here for 43 years. Wanted to talk about the Legacy Hills development, and I understood that there were some issues, and I wanted to find out if those issues have been resolved and where we stand with them. I think there was some engineering questions, and I haven't heard anything yet, so I'm here for that. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, I will close the call to the public at 6:38 p.m. And with that, I would seek a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'd move approval of the consent agenda with items 1, 2, and 3.
Second?
I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. At this time, I would seek approval of the regular agenda. We have amended the regular agenda to add a new item number 4, which is just an update from Dr. Greg Tatara regarding the Oak Point water main break that happened on Sunday evening. And so I would entertain a motion to approve the amended regular agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion. I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. With that, we will move on to action item number 4, which is indeed an update from Dr. Greg Tatara of MHOG regarding the Oak Point water main break.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate you fitting me in tonight. I just wanted to give an update on this, just because I know, A, it directly affected 3 board members on Sunday, and also, just to give a little bit of feedback, because it does have some budget impacts and stuff going forward that I wanted you to be aware of. So this is a picture here from about 6:30 in the morning yesterday. That was the beautiful weather we were having. I think the winds were 40 miles an hour coming off West Crooked Lake up on top of that hill, and I think the real feel was like 4 or 5 below zero. So a little bit cold, a little bit early, but we got it done. So I'll just click to the next slide there. So here's what happened. This is our typical SCADA. This is the elevated water storage tank elevation that we track continuously in our SCADA system. And you can see it's going up and down, up and down, up and down, like normal. We fill it to about 31 feet, and we let it empty down to 26 and then start filling it again. Well, at about 5:40 p.m., you could see a steep decline there. We emptied the entire system, which means we emptied the elevated storage tank, which is 150,000 gallons, as well as the ground storage tank, which was about half full at the time because you want to keep it half full in the winter to maintain a proper chlorine residual and turnover. So that was another 250,000 gallons. So we lost about 400,000 gallons in 1 hour. So we estimate that when the break occurred, we were losing over 5,000 gallons a minute, almost 6,000 gallons a minute of water was leaking out of that. This is just our alarm history, just something, again, that we invest in and track. This gives us every alarm. If you see a red alarm, that means it's highly critical. I just wanted to point this out, that the original call came in for a low water tower elevation at about 6, because we set the low tower elevation at about 15 feet, half in a bowl. That came in, and I think it was 628, if I remember right, or 618. I can't read very good. I think it was 628. By 629, that was acknowledged by our operator. By the time he got his boots into work, the tower was down to about 10 feet in elevation. That's how fast it was dropping. So there was nothing he could do to get there fast enough to stop it. This is the area that it happened. I don't know if does it have a little laser pointer coming?
And you can just leave that on the table when you're done. You have to hold it down and then it'll.
So this is the area that it happened right here by the Oak Point Country Club, is where the leak occurred. It ran all the way down this drive, past the beach house, past the beach, and things like that. This is the water treatment plant right here. So this is where we produce the water. We have 3 wells, 2 of them in the building, 1 right here on the golf course. And so there's supposedly a valve there, although the plans don't really show it's absolutely there. There's just a V on the plan, so we assume the V on the valve, but we've never been able to find that valve. We've excavated for it, dug for it, never been able to find it. So when the operator called me Sunday night, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if you're going to be able to find that valve. So when we got on site there, when they got on site, I was actually driving at that point from up north coming back from the long weekend. And so if you go to the next one, Kelly, I'll talk about a little bit how we isolated it.
You can do it.
Oh, yeah. So with isolating it, we had to actually shut multiple valves. So we had to shut the valve here behind the water treatment plant. We had to shut a valve here going over towards Huntington. We had to shut a valve going into the Villas of Oak Point at Moray Court. We also had to shut another valve here on the corner of Oak Tree Court and Oak Point in Club Drive. So all those valves had to get shut in order to isolate this particular portion of the water main. That took a little bit of effort. A, we had to find them all in the snow. B, basically they weren't all shutting down very well. So I had the guys shut the plant down and then re-exercise all the valves and then physically count all the turns. And once we did that, we were able to get that fully isolated in that location. And then we were able to get water restored. This is what the after effects was after we got it shut down. You can see it looks like a bomb crater there. So that 6,000 gallons a minute blew probably, that's hard to give a scale on, but that hole is probably 15 feet in diameter across and about 6-7 feet deep is how much dirt came out of that and then washed down that hill. This is the actual problem. Hard to tell, but I didn't get a lot of pictures because it was cold, but there was actually, it wasn't on the main line there. This is where we spend money on engineers and stuff to give us good record drawings. This was a piece of pipe that we had no idea was in the ground. It was on a tee heading towards the clubhouse, but had nothing on it but this push cap. This right here doesn't hold very well, and then what we dug out of the ground was a piece of 4x4 that I think had rotted away. So when that 4x4 rotted away, the pressure of the water system, which is about 70 psi at this location, popped that cap off. That's just a compression cap, and blew off. Yeah.
So the pipe was going this way.
Yep.
And they put the cap on it, and then they pounded a 4x4 in the ground
To hold it.
to hold the cap on.
Right, and I believe this must be from the original construction of the country club in 1992. So hey, it lasted for 34 years.
There you go.
Not too bad. So this was the repair we did. So yeah, this is what you can see is the pipe is actually heading towards the country club. I can go back to the map and show you, but it's something we didn't know was there. The fitting that we put on, oops, I'm sorry. The fitting we put on is what we call a restrained fitting. It has mega lugs on it, so it puts threads in it. And then we also buried about an 8-foot piece of water main adjacent to it, buried that in the ground because that'll last a lot longer, and to put restraint on that cap as well. Also, they had a bell here that we cut out because there was only a foot of pipe to that end cap, so that bell could always push off as well. The problem is we don't know how far this goes and where that main is. Yesterday was not the day to be doing exploratory digging. It was basically get it back up in service and running as quickly as we could. This just shows you after we were done, everything kind of cleaned up. The dump trucks are still there, but we were cleaning up. And again, just to show you the wind and the fun conditions that we had. This just shows you, again, what our staff did too. So we, this is when the break occurred, right here, 1 hour to empty. Then from the time they all got on site, and then we were able to get all those valves. We had to get every one of those valves fully closed and isolated and start to plant back up. But by a little after 9, we had pressure fully restored. So really it was only about 2.5 hours that we were out of service. Once we got pressure restored, a couple of the guys went home, and then Dave Estrada stayed till we got to this point. Then we also started to refill the ground storage tank. And then by 6 a.m., we had everything fully back up to full in the water system.
Incredible job you guys
So this is what I want to show you. I kind of drew on here, and I apologize. This is kind of choppy, but I started this presentation at 5:45 this evening and finished at 6:20. So. This is that stub, so I kind of just drew it in to show where it was right here that's coming off that needs to get fixed, and then this valve. So we're not done with this. What I want to do is as soon as we do get some better weather, I want to essentially dig up in this area and install what's called an insertive valve if we cannot find a valve. An insertive valve is where it's kind of like a live tap on a water main. You put a device over the water main, a stainless steel sleeve. It has a bolt-on flange. They bolt a piece of equipment onto it. It cores a hole in the water main. Then they pull that out. They have a slide that they slide off to stop the pressure. Then they slide a valve in, put it down. They bolt it to that flange, and it's called an insertive valve, and it'll seal off the water main. If we do that first, then we can go ahead and dig this up and fully remove that T and put a sleeve in there and make it a solid piece of pipe. That should then, in the future, no matter what, prevent this from happening in that location ever again, because I don't know, even with the restraint we put on there, how much restraint is on that particular pipe. And if we would have had a valve, we would have been able to shut that valve, go home, and it's only a line that goes back to one single fire hydrant back here behind the country club, which I think is necessary, though, because for fire protection for the country club building, you have to have a 250-foot radius of coverage. So I think we would need that there for the fire department to meet their requirements. Just want to say too that the investments we did after July, so back in July we had a little problem at Oak Point where if you see this solid line here, basically we had a radio that failed. The radio failure let the computer system think that we had this much water in the system, whereas the water was actually dropping off. So we lost pressure, and so we had to get that all taken care of. What we did at that point then is we put in, in addition to a new radio, we also added a cell dialer, or a cell modem. So the cell modem is also communicating parallel with the radio dialer. We've done this at MHOG and all of our systems as well. So given that we can't rely on UHF radios all the time and we can't rely on cellular communication working all the time. We run parallel systems for both radio and that to increase our ability to get alarms. So, just a budget impact for you, just to be aware of. So the SCADA upgrades that we did back in July, those costed $17,487. The other thing we did is, one of the other problems we had is when Windows 11 came out, when Windows 11 upgrades, which it just randomly does, you get the computer upgrade that you have to do, it erases the modem that calls out to us. So we also, in concurrent with that problem, we started getting low booster station alarms, but it never called out because it lost the modem because of the computer upgrade. So we now run a parallel system that's a web-based system that communicates through a PLC and then to the cloud, basically, and the cloud will call us even if our local modem and internet goes down. So even if we lose our local internet, we have another backup to that. So all those upgrades this summer costed $17,500 roughly. The emergency repair we did yesterday morning, getting the contractors out and leaving their shop at 5 a.m. And getting that all dug up. Also, we brought in 2 trucks of sand and a truck full of stone to backfill everything. That was $10,000. I'm thinking to do the further repairs we want to do this later on this spring. It'll be about 20. So that's $47,819. Our total budget for Oak Point water system is about $533,000 this past year. So just these repairs and one little problem costs 10% of our budget. So it makes it tough on these small systems that whenever you have a failure like this, it's a significant impact. So we'll actually, I met the contractor again today. We're actually going to get that quoted to put the valve installed. So when I get that, we'll share that with the board to take care of that. I just really wanted to end with a big thank you. Hopefully you guys all realize what a great team you have here at Genoa and MHOG's relationship. Even though we're Genoa Township employees, we work so well. It's awesome. My staff who reports to me, Alex Chimpers is my deputy. Dave Zoran was the on-call operator, and Dave Estrada is the operator in charge for Oak Point. They did great. Yesterday was all salaried staff on site there, so we didn't spend any extra overtime for that because it was Dave, Alex, and me out there. At Genoa here, I can't thank Adam and Kelly enough. I called Adam at 8 o'clock on Sunday night. He answers my phone call. He got onto our webpage. He put notices on the MHOG website. He put notices on Genoa Township website. He posted them on social media, also on the Genoa app as well. So he took care of all that for us on a Sunday night. And then he also answered my call again yesterday morning when it was all fixed. I told him some additional details. Kelly took all that information. Kelly, because she's part of that, got the information out to the North Shore Facebook group. So she was able to further spread the word through social media. So I think we did a very good job. True to form, there was no media outlets available for us to contact on Sunday night, even though we tried. So I actually ended up sending an email that then WHMI took to WHMI News, and WHMI got the word out as well. D'Angelo Construction, again, they answered my phone call at 8:30 on Sunday night, and then we coordinated getting out there with them leaving at 5 a.m. Because that hill was nothing but a giant sheet of ice going down there, and there's a well house down there and fire hydrant. I talked to, and Oak Point was concerned about getting deliveries to their clubhouse. Coopers came and plowed off all the rocks and sand and salted that whole hill and back area behind the clubhouse so they could get deliveries. So they took care of that. And then really, the board, you guys should thank yourself as well, because every time you help us by investing in SCADA and GIS, without GIS on our phones here, I was able 3 hours away to see all the valves and tell guys where to go. And then the communication systems we have with, web pages and things like that, and then investing in the people to operate and maintain those it's truly critical to public safety. When you look at things that go bad, whenever you hear the really bad stories out there, right, what was it always that nobody responded, right? They didn't know, they didn't get the call. And I think that's when it looks really bad. So I think, it is a lot of money, but I think when it comes to people's safety, that's the most important thing. So thank you for all of your support for all the years and everything we've done to improve these systems, and we'll keep trying. But I just wanted to make sure the board was aware of all this. And so if you get questions from anybody out there or what's going on or why did it happen twice in 1 year, do you have good answers of things that happen? So the technology is great. It helps us out a lot with stuff, but sometimes it gets a little too complicated and can foul up and cause problems as well. So,
Are
thank you.
they still on a boil water?
They're still in a boil water notice. We took our first set of back tees yesterday morning, and then again this morning we took them. It's 24-hour test, so we'll know tomorrow. The first set we collected were all clear; they were all good. So hopefully everything's good tomorrow, and we'll know midday tomorrow if we can lift it for sure.
When you go for the next round of repairs on that, will you be shutting down that water again?
No, so that's why I want to do what's called the insertive valve first. So I want to dig up the main, and you can do the insertive valve live. That way we won't have to shut the clubhouse down. Because shutting the clubhouse down is a problem for them because they do a food service in there.
Yeah.
So if I just shut them down, it still impacts them greatly. So I'd rather do the insertive valve. We can isolate that line, and then we can dig that T back, cut that out, sleeve it, and get it back in service.
So Greg, the root cause was a rotten piece of wood that failed?
Pretty much, I think so, yeah. I mean, and back in, I don't think they required like those restrained megalugs and stuff that we require now on that back when they built that. So, those we dig those up all the time. I mean, we've had this happen before. It happened years on M59 where end of a plug blew out. We had unrestrained hydrants on M59. Remember some of those, Robin, from MHOG that blew off. So, yeah, we don't.
Are there other buried pieces of wood?
I'm sure. I guarantee you. We just
the,
don't know when it's when it's
It was the
not even on
wild,
the
wild
plans.
west in the early 90s.
Yeah, when it's not even on plans, I could show you the plan sheets. There's no T, there's no line going that direction. I mean, I kept trying to tell the guys, yeah, the line's going this way, and they're like, the line's going this way. Like, there's no pipe here, because we were probing in the hole and everything yesterday morning trying to find it. So.
Are there plans to proactively dig those out and replace them?
Problem is, you're digging, you have no idea where it is. If you have no idea that something's there, I can't just go dig. That's a big waste of money right there.
They said this is how we find them.
Yeah. It's the failure policy, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. So.
Well, I think it's very impressive that you and your staff had the water filling back up into that tank within 2.5 hours. I mean,
It could have been faster if the valves would have worked even better, but it is what it is.
no, I think you guys did a fantastic job.
Yeah, those guys did great. I mean, they all got out there in crappy weather and bad conditions, and of course, it never fails on a sunny 70-degree day, right?
No,
That's Murphy's Law.
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted you to be aware, so sorry to take some time tonight, but I know people got other stuff on the agenda, so I'm going to let them go and
You go home.
Thank you very much, and thank you to your staff.
Hey, Greg.
Excellent job.
I typed up pretty much what you just said, except with a lot of thank yous to MHOG. I had a little chronology of events, and I didn't know you were.
Thanks to Todd, too, because he communicated everything to all the people in Oak Point through your e-blast and everything, so I forgot to, sorry about that, yeah.
Go team, right? So I didn't know you were going to speak tonight, so I prepared pretty much what you just presented.
Okay.
So I'll refrain. But thank you again for what you and your team do.
All right, thank you.
It's awesome.
It's awesome having your guys' support. It goes a long, long way.
It's well deserved.
Leave that on the table.
All righty.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. And moving forward, action item number 5 is the consideration of a recommendation for approval of the PUD agreement, environmental impact assessment, and final PUD plan to construct a 55-unit, single-family site condominium development located at the northwest corner of Chalice Road and Bauer Road. The project includes the following parcels: 471123 400 008, 471123 400 007, 471123 400 001, and 471123 300 003. The request is submitted by Pulte Homes of Michigan.
Good evening. My name is Mike Knowles. I'm pleased to be back with you again. I'm with the Umler Group, the civil engineers and surveyors for the Pulte Group. This evening, I have with me tonight Joe Score, the Vice President of Land Acquisitions for Pulte, Brooks Cowan, the Entitlement Manager for Pulte Homes, and also Brian Biskner. He's one of our engineers at the Umler Group. So, It's been almost a year. I think it was April when I was before you last, and we had a unanimous approval for our rezoning and preliminary PUD. This is our 6th public meeting that we've had on this topic. We had several at Planning Commission before coming to you, and we've had one at Planning Commission since coming to you. The Planning Commission saw this project in August, the final site plan and final PUD, and approved it unanimously, made a recommendation for approval to the board. So in the interim, part of their conditions for approval was for us to acquire all of our outside agency permits and clean up the engineering and some various items, some of the legal documents and that. I'm going to give you a brief overview, and then, of course, your packages are all about 250 pages deep. I've also got some summaries of those and some areas marked that we may want to discuss tonight, but that'll be up to you. So first, I'll give a quick overview. So this is the site. It's at the northwest corner of Chalice and Bauer Roads. Let's see, there it is. So it's 55 estate homes on 127 acres. So some of the prior topics that we've discussed here, this proposed development is master plan compliant. It meets all the requirements of your master plan. We went through in great detail, particularly with the Planning Commission, and prepared a parallel plan to show that 58 units would be permitted to be on that site under a parallel plan. The concept behind the PUD is to propose a better plan with the same or less density, and we believe we've done that. We also spent quite a bit of time on grading and the landscape buffer. So the two major public benefits were the off-site path, which I have a slide to show you how that came along. That's been fully approved by the Road Commission, and also the preservation of the natural features. And I have a slide that kind of highlights that as well, but I'll remind you that we have 26 acres of upland that is being preserved to never be developed, and we have 32 acres of wetlands that'll be preserved. This 59 acres will be preserved in its natural state in perpetuity. There's also some additional open space on the site. I'll go through that on another slide as well. So I have highlighted here some of the prior approvals from the township. So we had our Board of Trustees meeting on April 7th, where you approved the rezoning, the preliminary impact assessment, the preliminary PUD agreement, and the conceptual plan. Tonight, you have final versions of all of those documents before you. Also, in August, this was the Planning Commission, so they made a recommendation to approval for the final PUD agreement, the final site plan, and the final impact assessment. Also, we have submitted master deed bylaws and the PUD agreement outlining the restrictions that have been discussed throughout all of the other public meetings and through consultation and reviews from your staff and outside consultants. So this is an overall, you've seen this one before. There's another slide that kind of shows an updated with some additional engineering, but you get a really great sense of the preservation area that we're talking about here. There are no significant changes from the plan that you saw before, that you approved unanimously previously. No change to the unit count. There's still 55 units, which is 3 units less than the master plan, parallel plan would permit. And also there's no change to the open space. There's 71 acres of open space. And as I mentioned, just under 60 of them are preserved in their natural condition. The difference between the two figures is you can see the area here. The green area is the upland that I mentioned, the 26 acres of upland. The blue area over here are the 32 acres of wetland. That's permanent preservation in its natural conditions. Some of the other open spaces that are not natural are, for example, the tank basin is part of the open space. It would be shaped and planted and maintained. And then also the yellow landscape buffer is a combination of natural areas and new landscaping. If you recall, there was one requirement that we've met, which is to double the landscape screening along the detention basin to make sure that these adjacent residents also had some screening. The section down over here is primarily a natural buffer. There's nothing in the master deed, the PUD agreement, or the bylaws that permit residents to do whatever they want. There are restrictions in all of those documents that prevent them from cutting trees. Anything over 6-inch diameter breast height will require a penalty and a 2-to-1 replacement of such. But they are required. Remember, these are actually on their lots. The part in yellow is on their lot. So they are permitted to use and enjoy their property, but they're not permitted to build any kind of permanent structures within that yellow area on their lots. But they are required to maintain those, including mowing the lawn, trimming the bushes, maintaining it in that way. And so I think that was what some of the comment made earlier today in the opening may have confused. There, as I said, there's a lot of documents to go through, and each section has a different topic about what the remedies are, what the penalties are, what you're permitted to do, what you're not permitted to do. So that's the overview of the preservation area. Some highlights here. Our wetland permit has been issued, so we have the permit from Eagle. There were some questions, perhaps Mr. Carl's questions on engineering, if certain things would be allowed, and we talked at some length in the preliminary about this crossing. This is where the wetland impact is. It's a very small section that is getting impacted of the overall 32 acres of wetland. Eagle has reviewed that wetland permit application and our plans and exhibits and approved it and issued the permit. The soil erosion control permit is also approved. So we had to provide all the details about how will we protect the wetlands and the natural areas and all of the undisturbed areas from being overwhelmed by silt in any way, shape, or form. And we've presented those plans. They've been concurrently reviewed by the township staff, the engineering staff and planning staff, but the county has issued the soil erosion control permit. One of the major topics that we talked about were trees. As you may recall, we're saving about 5,000 trees on this site, primarily through the preservation over the 60 acres of that area. However, you can see on this slide that I highlighted the additional tree save areas that we had since the time that we saw you last. So when this was approved on March 17th, 2025, there were 2,159 trees that were proposed to be removed in the 70-acre development area. The current plan is 1,944, which means that we were able to save 215 additional trees, which was one of the charges that you gave us to do the best you can to try to save trees. We did a lot of discussing about why it's very difficult to impossible to save trees on the interior of the development. And so you see all of those areas that are highlighted with purple, and you can see them in green around the edges. They're all along the edges. So we're able to tweak some grading plans to be able to avoid some additional trees. So from the plan that you saw last time, we've saved additional trees. And again, I've noted the preservation areas, which are a major benefit of this particular plan. So we've been up to a lot since we saw you last. I've listed some of the various approval dates, but we've done the full detailed engineering. If Mr. Carl has some specific questions, I'm happy to go through any particular engineering items that he may have questions about, but the stormwater has been fully approved. All of the required legal documents have been turned in, have been reviewed, have been revised in accordance with those reviews, and turned back in. Tonight's approval is for the site plan, for the natural features impact, and for the PUD agreement. And so, as is customary, you know, that comes with some additional caveat that it's subject to any of the township staff or their outside consultants' notes. And there are still some notes. Nothing ever comes perfect at any point. It's a process. And so there are a couple of notes. For example, there are several items in the PUD agreement before you tonight that are listed correctly in the PUD agreement, but need to be reiterated in the master deed and bylaws. So that was one of Amy's notes on the master deed, as to the applicant shall ensure that all conditions of the conceptual approval from the township have been incorporated into the bylaws, such as the water softener discharge, the use of fertilizers, and the tree removal penalties. Those all made it into the PUD agreement. I have all the sections tabbed if you care to investigate towards what those exactly say. But they do need to be reiterated in some of these subsequent documents for recording the condo. So these are the documents. The PUD agreement is an agreement between the township and with Pulte as the developer. The condominium documents are the controlling documents for the homeowners. Those are the ones that they'll see, and it also references the PUD. They'll see that as well.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
You mentioned you had those tabbed. It was 3 items that, it was like a water softener discharge and
Yes, sir.
fertilizer, and, can you cite the location of those?
Yes, sir. So it's on page 10 of the PUD agreement. I don't have the packet page because I tabbed this up before.
It'd be 100 for page 10.
So yeah, so that has the unit 29 and 30 buffer, if you recall. We were required to put some trees up between units 29 and 30 to screen it prior to putting that open for sale. It has the fertilizer uses on that same page. The condominium document shall contain provisions prohibiting the use of fertilizers containing phosphorus by co-owners of units, et cetera, et cetera. The water softener is also on there, and the radon is also on there. Recall that you asked that Pulte reimburse folks for any radon mitigation that they have. So that's on that page there. And if any other questions come up about the natural features or any of the other things, I've got everything tabbed so I can find them quickly for you.
Real quick, I'd just ask, and I think Deb can correct me. I think what concerned her maybe was where shall not be used, or at the bottom of page 11, the talking about the open space conservation areas, shall not be used in any other manner without the prior approval of developer, the association, and applicable governmental authorities. You know, perhaps that would read a little better if we spelled out Genoa Township.
Certainly.
Or added, because some of this, obviously, Eagle will, you know, take precedence over us.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We'd be happy to.
I think that, I think she's concerned,
To
the
make
developer might be viewed as being more friendly to letting people, do what they want in there than maybe Genoa Township would be.
That's right, for sure. And there's also on page 7, there's a little bit more about the about the open space and the conservation areas, and it particularly talks about the 100-foot perimeter landscape buffer, which you'll see on the landscape plan shows some new landscape plantings in areas that aren't wooded. And it talks about you're permitted to do typical landscaping, manicuring, and mowing of those landscape features. No permanent structures are permitted, but then there's also the penalties for cutting into the natural areas. So there's two different things happening here. One is a requirement to maintain the landscaped areas, and the other is a prohibition against cutting the natural areas. Let's see if I can find the penalties. So here we go. In the event that a future co-owner of the unit of the condominium violates the terms of Section 9 by removing, trimming, or damaging the vegetation or trees to be preserved from the open space conservation areas without the prior written approval of the township, such co-owner will be in violation of this agreement and the master deed and will be subject to provisions of the zoning ordinance, which you already have some remedies in your zoning ordinance, including an assessment of penalties and fines set forth herein. The master deed, the condo docs, the sales disclosures will all document this, and it goes on and on and on, and that's where the, on the next paragraph, shall be subject to a fine of $5,000 fine from the township and shall immediately install replacement trees for the trees impacted on a 2-to-1 ratio. So there are some teeth in these documents that tell you exactly what you may do, what you may not do, and what happens in case you do it anyway. So that's all in there.
No, absolutely, and thank you. I agree. You guys definitely listened to what we said, and I do think that you put together a very solid document. Trustee Reiber has a few questions.
Thank you. For those of us that can see this here, page 12 of the PUD, which is page 102 on our packet, and maybe this is what Deb was concerned with. The first paragraph on page 12, towards the bottom, it says, the association shall preserve, repair, replace, and maintain such signage, Article 2 bylaws, notwithstanding anything contained herein to the contrary, co-owners shall be expressly permitted to cut, trim, manicure, and maintain any and all grass, bushes, trees, installed landscaping contained within their unit, including any landscape buffer areas contained within individual units. That, to me, sounds what Deb was hitting on. Pretty much, they can cut, whack, even the stuff that's put up as a buffer to the current residents in the subdivision neighboring, they can cut that right down.
No, they can't. So what that's saying is
this is my confusion, because it reads like they are expressly permitted any trees,
they're obligated to maintain that through mowing the lawn, through trimming those trees. They're obligated as the co-owner of that unit to do that maintenance of their own accord. They're expressly prohibited from cutting any of those natural area trees, those existing trees that are out on the site. So if we're planting, say we've got a 24-inch oak tree out on the site, they're prohibited from cutting that 24-inch oak tree. But maybe it's the only one in that landscape buffer. So now we've added 10 new landscaping trees that require to be mulched and require to be trimmed and require to be maintained, and the lawn around that is all part of their yard. So there's new landscape plantings and there's existing trees. In areas that are all wooded, they're expressly prohibited from going in and cutting that. It's supposed to be left in its natural area. So as I pointed out on that slide that you saw previously, the areas in the green and blue are like the conservation natural areas. Areas in the yellow are a combination of natural areas and of new landscaped areas. They're obligated to maintain the new landscape, and they're prohibited from cutting the natural existing woodlands that are on those lots.
How are they gonna know where these are located? Like, where's theirs end and?
No, so there's lot lines, right? So this job is exactly like all other condominium developments. So there'll be corner pins for their lot lines. It's 100 feet, and it's shown on the master deed. One of the documents that we've submitted to you is the Exhibit Bs to the master deed. And so if you look at those Exhibit Bs, you will see those expressly called out as the easement area.
So like the very first words of that sentence, notwithstanding anything contained herein to the contrary, you can do this. So the notwithstanding anything contained herein to the contrary says there's stuff in here about not cutting down trees in the buffer zone.
Right.
But otherwise, co-owners shall be expressly permitted to cut, trim, manicure, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Real quick, I know these can be extremely difficult
It's like
to
confusing and-
enforce.
Yes.
Joe? Are
I
you,
understand,
are you comfortable with the enforceability as written? I do see some confusion. Now, we're lay people.
Yes, and that's what's making me hesitate because of what both Mr. Reiber and Mr. Walker point out, the language, no matter what it says in otherwise, you can expressly permitted to cut. I think the phrase cut, or the word cut, maybe we should work on.
We'd be happy to remove the word cut, because the idea behind that provision is to obligate the co-owner to maintain the new landscape, right? And it expressly prohibits them from cutting down trees, and it spells out the remedies and penalties involved if they were to cut down the trees. So be happy to remove the word cut from that particular sentence. It's trying to express two different things.
Yeah, I see a couple sitting at the kitchen table going, all right, this weekend, we're gonna do this, this, and this. Let's check the rules and make sure we don't screw up. And they read this and they're like, what does
Yeah.
that mean? Because it says this, but then that.
Yeah.
And it could be confusing.
We could certainly make that, that clarification in
My
the.
question to both Mr. Reiber and Mr. Walker is, if you take that out, the word cut, is it clear that this is to, maintain the landscaping and not to remove,
With the word trim.
yeah, you got trim, manicure, and maintain all
Yes.
bushes and so forth.
I think the landscape buffer area should just be like, leave it alone.
Well-
Because it's supposed to be maintained in its natural state.
Back to Candy's question, how are they gonna know? Like, you're gonna have the property lines, but if this is contained on the property line, how are they gonna know where this buffer is?
It's the back 100 feet of their property for those lots that are along the
Is it
perimeter.
gonna be marked for them, or
Well,
are
it'll
they
be
gonna have to take
marked
their
on
tape
their,
measure out?
it'll be marked on their plot plan. The corners will be marked. They get the disclosure of the PUD agreement, the master deed and bylaws, as well as the Exhibit Bs that graphically depicts it for them. At the major preservation area, the 60 acres that's off to the northwest, those are going to be demarcated by signage. Don't go in here, don't cut, don't fill, don't do all the things. You can go in there. You're allowed to walk around in there. The reason that we didn't want to sign the property on the landscape is because you have to go in there to maintain it. There's a difference between the 60 acres of preserved natural area and the landscape buffer. There are some lots over there that don't have any trees on it. They're only going to have trees by virtue of us creating this landscape buffer and planting the trees.
What
And they
part
need
of something in its natural state would require maintenance?
nothing other than, if a limb gets broken off in a storm and you want to clear away a dead limb that's hanging, that's unsightly or dangerous, those types of maintenance things could be required
I
there.
see that, but it seems to offer, in a confusing way, that maybe they could have the option of, like, cutting some
Clearing it out and putting grass?
bushes and,
And
yeah,
just having trees?
exactly.
I
Like,
know.
Right.
no more bushes. I mean, I see that up and down my road all the time. Some neighbors, we live in the wooded area. Some have just the trees and they have grass all the way down, and some have a natural buffer which has.
Right, and we've distinguished the difference between the two. So on the slide, it's just the yellow areas that we're talking about now. That's the landscape buffer. So you cannot do that. You're precluded. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, let's go back to the map.
Yep, that's the one. Okay, so in the blue and the green areas, you can't cut anything. You can't cut anything, and there'll be signs demarcating this is the edge of the preservation. It's a conservation easement. So the difference between the yellow and the blue and the green is the blue and the green are a conservation easement. Don't do anything in here besides walk around and enjoy the wildlife and the flora and the fauna. The yellow is on their lots. That's part of their backyard. So part of the whole setback of their backyard. They're going to be throwing the frisbee, playing catch with their kids, you know, having a birthday party, and a lot of those, especially on the west edge of our property line, which would be the east edge of Mountain View, a lot of those don't have any trees there at all. And that's part of the landscaping plan, which shows that we're planting it full of additional new trees.
You're gonna put trees in there, in the yellow area?
Yeah, that's on the
Yes,
plan.
it's
So
on
the
the,
thought
it's on-
is that they'll be able to add more screening to actually beef up the screening between the existing neighborhood?
Correct?
That's correct.
Only in that yellow area. They
So-
cannot in the other.
So if you,
Says each co-owner in section 4.8, each co-owner shall preserve and maintain the portion of the landscape buffer located on the respective unit, which such maintenance may include typical landscaping, manicuring, mowing, the planting of trees and vegetation, trimming and cleanup.
so I'd like to bring your attention to landscape LS2. It's in your packet in the plan section of it. So on the landscape plan in LS2, you see a blow up of the area that we're talking about. There you go. Okay, if you can zoom in on the left side of that a little bit more, maybe it's just my old eyes. Let me put my glasses on here. So you see different designations. Joel, our landscape architect, has highlighted the existing vegetation, and it's pinstriped, right? So it's the clouded bubbles. Those are existing trees. Thank you, yes. And then all of the other tight circles, we've got bushes, we've got trees, and each one of those designations, CO4, that's for Colorado spruce, you know, JP8, that's 8 junipers that are being planted there. Each one of those correlates to the table on the landscape plan that tells you the size, the species, and the count for what's being planted along there. So what we're doing is we're creating a screening area that protects both the neighbors and the new homeowners from looking into each other's backyards. So that 100-foot buffer area goes all the way to that line there, thank you, yes. And so that's part of their yard. So they're gonna mow that. They're gonna play in that area. They're precluded from cutting those things down, but they're obligated to maintain those. Now, if you scroll over to the right and south, you'll see a little difference. Aha. So over here, this is natural. This is a woods, and the whole buffer, it goes all the way up to the buffer line. So this is where those prohibitions come from clearing, cutting, filling, doing anything to the existing vegetation. And they're specifically called out as different types of areas where there's natural trees, there's penalties for cutting those down. And it's I don't want to use the word, it's serious, right? So it's a $5,000 fine on top of whatever the township could impose based on their ordinances, because it's to be a violation of the PUD agreement for which all of these co-owners are subject to. They have to, as part of their purchase agreements, they acknowledge this PUD agreement, the master deed, and the bylaws. So those areas are different. So that's why they're shown as yellow and then they're shown as green. Now the only issue, right, is so there's some lots with both. You saw it on the west edge and you see it here at the south edge.
I think that you need to do better on the west side, because those people in that Mountain View sub didn't even want this anyway. I think that you should do more so they can have it more like it was.
well, it's not, there are no trees on that line
I
right
know,
now.
but
So not,
do
so-
something.
So it's not more like it was, but we doubled the
No,
landscape.
but they're not used to having anybody over there.
No, I understand that, but we doubled the landscape requirements.
They've done everything we asked for.
We've doubled, so this came up. So remember, this is our 6th hearing on this. During the first 5 hearings, it was, we should do more for screen more for the Mountain View people, and we doubled the landscape requirement along this edge. This is consistent with that approval. So we have gone over and above the ordinance requirements for landscaping along that way, including creating this landscape buffer that precludes them from building swing sets and forts and underground swimming pools and all of those things that would get them too close to those neighbors. Remember, how we started this before we even came to the township for our first public meeting, with a meeting with the neighbors, with Mountain View. And we started that with, this is what we're planning on doing. What are your concerns? We're going to try to accommodate you along the way. Now we are 2 years into it, and we have all of the outside permits that we need. We have a plan that is consistent with the preliminary approvals, the 55 units, the road layout, all the conservation areas, and the additional benefits, which include about $1 million of benefit, right? So if you look at 60 acres of preserved no development rights, right? So 60 acres of farmland is $30,000 an acre. So you're at $900K for areas that will never be developed. And then the second is an off-site path. It's another $350,000 improvement. I didn't get to the slide yet for that one, but so there's over $1 million on these 55 units. So you've got between $10,000 and $15,000 a unit of additional public benefit over here, where typically on a PUD, Pulte's done some that extend a water line. It's an $80,000 improvement, and it works out to 500 unit. I've done some where it's extend a passing lane, 250 units. It ends up being $500 a unit. This has significant public benefit here, and all of those concerns about providing screening over and above the ordinance and providing benefit over and above the ordinance have already been incorporated into this plan.
Can we jump back to the wording that we were discussing?
Yes, ma'am.
I think, at least the concern for me is it's in section 4.7. And the end of that section, where we were talking about before, where it says, shall be expressly permitted to cut, and so on. There's where the confusion is coming in, because it's including the landscape buffer. And while it's restricted somewhere else, and there's fines, and that's all wonderful, and I'm glad that's all in there, I think by including this in there as well is very confusing. So, I mean, can we eliminate?
Can I suggest, because I picked up on what you were saying, if you go to the last sentence of section 4.7, if you just take out where it says comma, including comma, but not limited to comma, that phrase, doesn't it accomplish what you were talking about? Because then 4.8 places a requirement on the owners of the units to maintain and describes how they can maintain the landscape privacy buffers.
I agree.
Yeah.
So Joe, you're suggesting from the word including comma, delete the word including and everything else in that whole sentence?
So after the word unit, which is capitalized, make it a period and not a comma.
We're happy to accept that change. It is clarifying.
AI didn't know your intent.
But correct me if I'm wrong, you said that yellow area is their unit.
Yes, it is.
That is
Yes.
part of their unit. So it still says you're permitted to cut, trim, and landscaping within their unit. So that yellow area is open game,
Well,
still.
No, it
well,
says
we
Took out the word cut.
we took the word cut out.
Anything contained
So-
herein to the
so
contrary. So
not
this
with-
is to the contrary.
Here, I struck it out if that helps.
No, I got it.
So they're permitted to trim, manicure, and maintain the grass, the bushes, and the trees, and installed landscaping contained within their unit.
I'm comfortable.
Specifically, the installed landscaping. We're not talking about the existing trees. Those are particularly expressly protected in other sections of this agreement.
I'm comfortable with that
Okay.
change.
Wait, that plus Joe also struck out the word cut, which we
Yes.
talked about.
Right.
He agreed to that right off the bat.
Yes.
Yep.
Both changes are acceptable.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's on page 21, section 10.02. It says that after 6 years, you have the option of adding more units to this?
No, so that is so you're now looking at the master deed, right? Not the PUD agreement. So Pulte cannot unilaterally add any units to this.
So this
But
is
the
it, this is only gonna be 55?
Right.
Any way you slice it.
But the condominium is expandable. Okay, so say they buy the property across the street and they want to come in and go through 2 years of approvals and get that approved for 55 units on another 127 acres and incorporate it into this existing homeowners association so they could share common elements. That's what it is intended to do, that it's an expandable condominium association. It can't be expanded without your approval because you've already approved the site plan and the PUD agreement, and there's nowhere in the PUD agreement or the site plan that contemplates expanding this condo. The expansion of the condo is just a standard Condo Act provision, right, that is included in there. Pulte cannot unilaterally do anything.
He's correct. The Condominium Act says if you want to sometime in the future, expand it, like he says, obtain no new property, whatever, you're limited under the act. You have to do that within the first 6 years. If you don't put it in there, then you can never do that.
Correct.
So we've seen that in just about every single condominium project. There's vacant land, maybe we'll buy it down the road or whatever. If they want to make it, add it to this project, they have to have that language under the statute in their master deed.
Okay.
But in no way forever and ever and ever does that 58 acres of.
Correct. That's conservation easement specifically called out by the PUD agreement, by every one of the plans, and on the Exhibit Bs, it calls out for, this is a preservation area. It defines it legally, that this is the area, nothing can ever happen here but birds playing and bees buzzing.
So who's gonna police it then? You're looking at your homeowners association to
So
do
there's
that?
multiple ways to police this. So there's 3 ways that come right off the bat. Number 1 is the homeowners association. So anytime you do a condominium association, you've got 54 other co-owners that are like, what are you doing in my woods? That's protected woods, get out of there, right? And there's remedies spelled out in the master deed and bylaws for the penalties that you can have. Second is the ordinance enforcement township. This is a legal agreement, right? And so this would be a violation of the ordinance if they did that. So you could send ordinance enforcement officers over there and say, just like you would cite somebody for, running an illicit gambling party or doing, outdoor storage, ordinance violations. And the third is that the wetlands, not the woodlands, but the wetlands, the 32 acres of wetlands, are protected by the state of Michigan through our Eagle permit. So it expressly prohibits those things. So knowing violations to a Eagle a permit can cost you major fines. The soil erosion ones I know off the top of my head, $37,500 a day is what they can fine you for soil erosion control violations. And so the state has teeth to be able to enforce this too. So you have 3 layers: HOA, township ordinance enforcement, and the state of Michigan.
So I'm sorry, I do have a question. You do refer to in the same section that Candy's talking about it, it says area of future development. Where is that shown on the map anyplace? Because, I mean, you're kind of bound. You've got a road on one side, you got a road on another side, you got another subdivision over here.
It's a standard condominium template. There are no areas of future development. So on the Exhibit B, so that.
Like the boilerplate language part of it?
It's the boilerplate language on it, and you're supposed to identify those areas that could be expanded. Now, there's the right to add additional areas. So let's say they bought 100 acres to the north, right? And you could come off of that north cul-de-sac theoretically and tie into that. So you could share that entrance and then maybe come out to a different road so that you could pass through the entire development. That's what it's talking about, the right to expand the condominium, right? And right now, there are no areas of future development identified. So there's no place to expand the condominium because we don't have any additional land. We don't have any additional areas.
But within 6 years, you can create.
We can, if we go and put another piece of property under contract and come to you and do the whole process again with that other piece of contract, that other piece of property that's under contract to say, hi, I'm Mike Knowles, I have another 100 acres, we want to put 25 units on it, we want to tie into another road, they're going to be able to enjoy shared access and shared stormwater and shared community benefits. We're going to extend the path up through the neighborhood and out to Grand River, I don't know, wherever, right? So there's the ability to expand a condominium. But you have to identify the future expansion area, and you have to identify. It doesn't trump the township's exclusive ability to approve residential developments. It just is a mechanism that allows it to happen, should it ever happen. And I'm certain if it is a impasse, it's a standard provision, but if it's an impasse, Pulte has no intention of expanding this to any other property. They're kind of bound by Mountain View on the west, a conservation area on the northwest, CSX Railroad along the east side. There's nowhere for them to really go. So if it came down to striking the expansion provision, not an issue.
So, Mr. Reiber, that language preserves their right to ask the township to expand it, but it would still have to go through this exact same process. If they were going to add to it, you would go through the planning commission, this board, all of those reviews. It doesn't just say, hey, look, we can do whatever we want. No, really gives them the right to ask.
Correct.
To expand.
But he was willing to strike the area of future development, right?
I think there's just a little bit of confusion here. I'm Joe Score with Pulte Homes of Michigan. That provision has nothing to do with this development. This 127 acres, 55 units, it will not be, it cannot be, it will not, and it will not be changed, modified, or added to. That provision is only relevant or relative to adjacent parcels, unrelated adjacent contiguous parcels. So if, as Mike said, if we were to put a different parcel, not the 127 acres that we're talking about here, not the preservation areas, not the upland within the wooded and the wetlands, a different parcel, totally unrelated to this 127 acres. If we were to put that under contract, come back to you, go through this whole process again, in theory, we could expand the existing condo to add in those units on that adjacent unrelated parcel. Has nothing to do with this community, this development, the density, or the open space. So I just think there's a little bit of confusion.
Oh, there's no confusion.
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood that.
I understand it's a
Yeah.
separate piece
Yeah,
of real
okay.
estate. Yeah, completely outside this
Okay.
right here. I was just asking, where is this area of future development? It's not on the map, I think is what he said. It's not there right now. It could be within 6 years. And then I heard him say, if you want us just to strike this area of future development from this, we will do that.
Well, I think what you're asking is, where's this expansion land? And what I'm saying is, I have no idea. It doesn't exist. It's boilerplate language within a condo doc that just gives the developer the option to expand the condo if there was future expansion land, if there was adjacent property that was added to. Again, it's just boilerplate. We don't have any expansion land. There's no intentions of adding anything, and so it's just boilerplate. But if for some reason you're saying, hey, if you said to me today, like, hey, we don't ever want you to expand this condo, whether you add in 100 acres, down the road or 50 acres over here, we only want one condo, and that would have to be a separate and independent condo, I have no problem. Like, that's not an issue for me whatsoever.
Kelly, do you know what the property north of this is zoned as? Is it agricultural?
Yes.
So it would have to go
It's
through.
across railroad tracks as well.
Well, there's some.
Would be across the tracks, yeah.
Sort of northwest of there that isn't across the tracks, but it's all ag, because that
So
was
it would
one
have
of
to
the-
be rezoned.
Wouldn't you have to
to
go through the
residential
wetland to
as
get to
well.
it?
We'd have to go through the whole.
Yeah,
They would have to go through the whole thing.
have crossing.
I think the only difference is if there was an expansion area sometime in the future and you approve that, the only difference we're talking about is we would have one condo or two condos. That's all it is. And so if you're saying that you don't ever want this condo expanded, I'll strike the language. Doesn't matter to me. And if you don't care, then we leave it in. It makes no difference. So it's up to you.
So just to answer your question, the property directly to the north is owned by the township, and that was rezoned to PRF. And then the properties to the west are zoned ag and CE.
Which is public recreation.
Okay.
So it's a park.
It's not going anywhere. I mean, and it has nothing to do with the development. This is a
I
condo
understand.
agreement.
I understand that.
Like Oak Point. all that.
Joe, is there any downfall, if they're willing to strike that, is there any downfall to us striking that? I know it's a common,
No.
The only
Well, hold on, I gotta think about this for a second. He's right, if they acquire property next to it, and it gets approved, you might have two condos associations. The board may say, geez, we really like the way the original one met, is being operated. Yeah, let's keep it all part and parcel so we have some continuity. But then you're kinda looking into the future, what's gonna happen in 6 years? I don't know. It leaves the option open to ask. If you don't like them expanding into this, then you're going to deny their request, and then they're going to proceed with a separate condo unit. So, my thoughts, it keeps your options open as well as it keeps their options open. But to think that they can just go ahead and then, expand it without any review by the planning commission, maybe the ZBA or this board, no, it'll still go through the whole review process with all the consultants and everything.
So while I don't see anything happening like this, I don't see the harm in leaving the wording in there. If something happens someday, the association could be expanded and you could save the residents some money.
You may want it to be expanded. There may be some efficiencies associated with that expansion, but
How would that save any money?
Because there would be more homeowners splitting the bills.
right, exactly.
This is boilerplate stuff. If this was a one-off, I could see really diving deep into, let's maybe explore making it go away, but it doesn't,
Yeah, but doesn't
It's
the
there.
master plan, most of the messages we got back was they don't want any more development, and maybe we would do right by them to say, take it out. If you want to do anything else, you have to start from the beginning.
That's
Well, they
exactly
do.
what we would do.
they would have to
They
do
absolutely
that.
do.
Well,
Except they would have to rebrand it. They couldn't add it into the existing condo.
That's all it
Right,
is.
it could be Legacy's Hills condo.
Number two.
Right.
Yeah,
But why?
Right, so all you're doing is you're cutting off an option, and as Joe said, we don't care. 6 of one, half
Yeah.
a dozen of the other. Whatever your pleasure.
yeah, either way.
take it out then.
Sure.
I think that requires a vote.
What's so magical about 6 years?
Statute.
That's statutory law.
Oh, it's magical.
Magic.
All right.
yeah, pretty boilerplate, and there is no, I mean, there's no way to connect to what they have direct connection. There is not.
And they would still
You
have to come
cross a
before us
railroad
for
track
any of it
or
to
a
begin
road.
with.
So, I don't see any harm. That's why I asked Joe. It's not a hill to die on for me.
Nope.
Candy, what do you think?
It's up to
Jody?
this
Well, they
board.
said they didn't care if they left it in or took it out, so take it out.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of Oak Point, how Oak Point has kind of started, and then they're all one, but they have developments all over, like if you look at the new one, I don't know what the specific.
There's hills,
name of
honors,
it is
yeah.
on the
11
other side of
associations.
Those were all in the
Well,
original deed, though.
There's
There's-
11.
Hey, Rick, there's 12.
12. Oh, yeah, I forgot your.
Yeah, there's
Loretta.
12. And that property was all sold, like, pretty much at the same time, and then developed at different times. So,
And how does that work out for you guys to have 12 associations versus one?
Depends who you ask.
That just kind of manages the whole,
each association kind of has its own flavor,
okay.
so it does work well. It can be confusing at times, as president of the board over there, but it does work out well.
Okay, so if we remove this.
Especially with the
and
different
then-
living style, and, the different types of units. But that's not
Detached
in play
condos,
here.
some detached condos, some single-family homes, but they're all part of the condominium unit.
So
Right.
if we had them strike this and they did something like that, it would be similar. They'd have different associations if we allowed them to keep it
No,
in.
but everybody is allowed to be called Oak Point,
Oh, you would have to call it a different name?
because that
You said
condo,
Legacy Hills 2?
If we went through
Yeah.
this whole process all over again with an adjacent parcel and we struck the language, it would be, just for example, it'd be Legacy Park 2, condo number 2 versus existing, yeah, right, north, south, old, new, whatever that is.
But
yeah.
if you kept the language and it was ever approved.
And
it
we,
could
and we
be the
wanted to add it back
same,
in and the
and
whole,
then
and the
you could
current.
have the same association.
That's right.
for
Just be
family
one
health,
association
okay.
versus, one association versus 2 associations. That's really the only difference.
so we have a master association, Oak Point Community Association, with 12 sub-associations within it.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a mess.
So it's, yeah.
Oh, there you go, it's a mess.
Well, this would prevent that from happening.
This would
If you
stop
leave it
that
in.
mess.
If you leave
I'm
it
good
in.
with leaving this in here, it just
I
makes
am too.
sense. It's only 6 years.
Yeah,
It's,
Look how long it's taking you to get.
they have to come and get approval, I mean, I guess.
Candy, what do you think?
I don't know. I think that people, I don't care. I guess I don't care.
I think
I mean,
that
either
it's,
way, they have to get approval if they're gonna do something new or do this.
Well, but they don't have access to any land unless we were to sell it to them.
And they would still have to come before us to begin with.
Correct.
I think it's a nothing burger.
It's a nothing burger. It doesn't
Leave it
give them
alone.
permission to just like
Doesn't
go do
anything,
something.
Doesn't hurt us, doesn't
Right.
help us. And it's a lot of wasted time talking about nothing.
Yep.
Leave it alone, in my opinion.
Moving on.
Asking questions to deeper understand.
Oh, yeah.
What we're gonna prove
No.
is not a waste of time. If somebody has a question,
You asked the question.
Deb made a great point, and we spent some time and got clarification. It ended up being a modification. Right?
I said my opinion, this particular issue
Okay.
is a nothing burger.
Now, just to clarify, you guys were okay with the language that Joe modified?
Yes, sir.
I think that gave you comfort, right, Bill?
Yeah,
In-
yeah.
in the wording.
It eliminated some confusion, and it offered the protection against cutting. I mean, that was the big thing, because if you're gonna put the stuff in there, leave it there.
Fine with that, that was the intent, so the language is more clear now.
Okay, any further questions?
I think we
At
were
this time,
Down
part of your presentation.
second to last was the next one, right there. So I wanted to point out to you that the Livingston County Road Commission has approved the project for the path, the offsite path, both entrances, the emergency entrance and the acceleration, deceleration lane. They studied the site distance, they studied the traffic study that we went through at great length here. and made some minor changes in a couple of places here and there, but I put this exhibit together so that you could kind of see the route a little bit more clear, because it comes cut together on 3 or 4 different sheets in the plan set, and it's kind of hard to see, like, what am I looking at? So I cut the plans and rotated them so that it would make sense with the aerial picture. So you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pedestrian crossings. Top left is the one at Mountain View. So we're taking the sidewalk up to Mountain View, going across their entrance, and then just doing a little landing on the other side. So we're not extending it anywhere to the west of the Mountain View entrance. And then the path will continue across in the Road Commission right-of-way, the Chalice Road right-of-way, to the Legacy Hills property. It butts back into the property a little bit. It makes a crossing, and then it jogs back out. It goes along the frontage before it sort of crosses along where the old Chalice Road was, and it stays. You can see the ditch on the south side of the path. You can see those dark specks are check dams in the ditch, so we're not putting this in the, thank you, yeah. We're not putting this in the ditch. It's up on the top of the bank, but it's also, you can see it's south of the trees. There was one young lady that had come to talk about, you know, the trees and making sure that those weren't going to go away. So it's south of the trees. It goes all the way over to Bower Road, where it does a crossing across Bower Road there, and then it goes across you can see that extended island. I kind of eliminated the white paper there so you could see the configuration of the roundabout at that location. And so it goes across. There's a little bit of a median in the middle there, and then it continues across. And then at the very south and bottom right side, it ties into the existing path that goes down to, I forget the name of the school, Horning and Maltby or something like that. Yeah. So great.
Is this path the same width as the one that it's connecting with, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
It sure is. So it's a fantastic improvement. It was wildly popular with the public when we were still getting 15 and 20 people coming out. And if you recall, we had proposed an option of doing some kind of a nature path through the preservation area in lieu of this, and it was pretty much unanimous consent that said this is what they wanted. They're going to be able to walk to school, ride their bikes. It'll be more accessible to the community at large. And so it is approved and permitted, ready to roll. That is the last slide that I had prepared for you to just give you an overview. Yes, sir?
I notice in 410, rights of Mountain View residents to use sidewalks. Are there other sidewalks in the community?
Yes, sir, there are. There are sidewalks throughout the community on one side of the street.
Okay.
And so that was one of the things that we wanted to extend, you know, an olive branch to our neighbors to say, walk your dogs, push your kids in a stroller, jog, whatever, you're welcome. We want to be your neighbors. And so that was explicitly, we promised them that we would, and we did.
And they would access through the main entrance to the community?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then they'd have access to all the paths, and they could walk around, and they're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I think the sidewalk addition on Chalice Road is huge.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely nothing we can require a developer to do. So you are strictly offering to do this, and I think it's wonderful for the residents.
Thank you. We're happy to do it, and we're excited about this development. It'll be really neat.
Now, just to clarify, the parts across, so on the northern side of Chalice Road, will that be the responsibility of the developer to maintain, or will that be the deeded over and responsibility of the township to maintain, just like the other pathways?
The pathway will, the off-site pathway will not be the development's responsibility to maintain. It'll be in the road commission right-of-way, so it becomes their property. The on-site paths are all going to be the development's responsibility. So it's a one-time installation of these paths, but ongoing maintenance or changes to those paths will be the road commission's purview, or the township, if the township is to, create a path program to connect up into these paths.
There'll be an
and work-
extension of our existing path. So
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify and make sure we,
If it's the road commission, who's responsible for maintaining it? We are, right?
Yep.
Wait, wait.
Is there a warranty? What if this concrete?
Just a little bit of
crumbles in
extra
1
plowing.
year?
Is it concrete or asphalt?
Asphalt.
Asphalt.
Yeah. I want to say I think it's 8 feet, if I recall off the top of my
It's
head.
connecting to
It's 8
our
or 10.
asphalt
Yeah.
paths. so.
Yeah.
So our bike path maintenance bill is gonna go up a little bit. But I think it's well worth
it's
it.
a benefit to the residents. It's a continued, people have expressed a desire to eventually have the path make it the whole way here to the township hall. This gains us,
Yeah.
quarter mile, a little less than a quarter mile,
There you
probably.
go.
But,
Right.
it's that much
Well-
closer.
Grand River goes all the way to the city of Howell. We're working this one to go all the way to the city of Brighton, right?
For sure.
I think you guys have worked very hard and done a lot of work to get us what we've asked for,
Thank you.
and I appreciate it.
Appreciate you saying so.
We appreciate the additional tree savings.
Thank you.
First, we were a little worried that wouldn't happen, but
I didn't
I
think
think
it
we expressed, when the people expressed that that's what they wanted, and
Yeah.
we appreciate you making the effort.
Thank you.
So Kelly, the master deed change in section 4.7 that we're looking at, would that be part of the PUD agreement?
Site plan.
Site plan, thank you.
This is linked to sort of the site plan is the site condominium approval as well, so.
So that will be in 5C. We'll
Correct.
make subject to those changes recommended by Township Attorney Seward. So we have to consider each of these independently, correct? So I would entertain a motion on item 5A, which is the disposition of planned unit development agreement.
I'll move to approve the PUD agreement, including the final PUD plan dated October 17, 2025, as submitted, along with the PUD agreement shall be recorded with the Livingston County Register of Deeds prior to land use permit issuance.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second. Any further discussion? I know we don't have it spelled out, but I think I would prefer, Clerk Susie, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Reiber?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Valenti?
Yes.
Hovarder?
Yes.
Susie, yes. Spicer?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on, we will need a motion for 5B.
I'd move to approve the environmental impact assessment dated December 17th, 2025.
Second?
I have a motion. I have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will again ask Clerk Susie for a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Hovarder?
Yes.
Valenti?
Yes.
Spicer?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
Susie, yes. Walker?
Yes.
Reiber?
Yep.
Okay.
And finally, 5C.
Which will include,
As amended.
All right, I'll go. I'll move to approve the final PUD plan dated 12/15/25 with the following conditions. Amy, in Amy's memo to everyone tonight, and I think you have a copy of it as well, items number 1 through 4, and then we'll add a item number 5, which would be amending the last sentence in the master deed, section 4.7, remove the word cut and remove the words but not limited to.
No, we talked about
cutting out the whole thing.
eliminating the phrase after the word unit.
Okay.
Make that a period, so you'd be eliminating the words including comma, but not limited to comma, any landscape buffer area contained within individual units.
So the whole
Is that-
sentence.
After unit. And
That.
eliminate the word cut. Yeah, several words before that.
Close.
Okay.
You get that, Patty?
Including but not limited to any landscape buffer area contained within individual units.
As set forth in section 4.8 below.
So one's 4.7 and one's 4.8.
No, it says that
I'll
in the
show you what I
sentence.
see
We'll,
on the screen?
we'll print it for you.
Yeah, it's up there.
Patty?
There you go.
Oh, got it.
So the word cut, and then that whole rest of the sentence.
Yep, after the word unit, yep.
Okay. I have a motion.
I'll support that.
I have a motion. I have support. Any further discussion? Seeing none, one more time, I will ask Clerk Susie for a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Walker,
Yes.
Ryber,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Valente,
Yes.
Ovardo,
Yes.
Susie, yes. Spicer,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you
Congratulations, gentlemen.
working with us, and we're looking forward to getting started.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your work on this.
Do you know when you'll be breaking ground?
I don't think you heard it.
So it'll take about 2 months to get all of the bonds and letters of credit, close on the property, dial in all of that. So it'll probably be May, April,
Yeah.
when the snow thaws before we get out there.
Okay.
Yeah. Roads will be paved before the snow flies in 2026.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Moving on, action item number 6 is a request for approval of the Genoa Charter Township Principles of Governance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The board did approve these last year, earlier in January. And we just thought it would be a good idea to reaffirm these since we do have a new member of the board, and just as a general method of practice to sort of make this an annual adoption document. So it's before you this evening for your review and approval. And if it is approved, I will file the signed version with the resolutions book in the clerk's department.
Any questions or concerns?
Nope.
Well, I had questions from earlier. They were answered in an email form. And my concern at the point in time, well, first of all, this is just a gesture. There's nothing binding. This is just a goodwill thing here. And I had asked whether or not the township people, the management here also had a similar document that they signed either upon getting hired here or as a result of this being signed. Is there going to be anything that we're gonna ask the general population, I'll say, of the building here to also, the staff to also, you guys know that we had a nasty fallout not too long ago and there was accusations flying, so I'm sure that this is probably somehow matriculating from that. So my response was, no, we've never asked anybody to, staff to sign anything like this, and I'm wondering, why would we not? They are part of.
Those that are under contract have kind of already signed their contract. I mean, I guess we could ask them to sign it.
All employees have to sign the employee handbook as well, that has a lot of these same provisions located within it.
This is sort of our gesture toward the people, that we will abide by these things. If we're voted on, they can change us. The people themselves can't really change the staff. They can ask us to change the staff.
And this was approved by this board.
We did approve it
except
last year,
Jody, a year ago. So none of the events this past year have anything to do with this being at the table tonight. This is here because we have a new member.
Also, just may I add, that this document is provided to us from the Michigan Townships Association, and they recommend that adopted boards consider this. So the language in this is really meant for elected officials.
They also prefer that we do it every year, but don't have to. But I think it's a good faith gesture to the people.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it went down the row. I think we all signed it.
We did.
What's there to dis, are we done?
I don't think any of us are gonna vote against it since we already signed it.
Okay.
Do we need approval of it?
We do need a motion to approve.
I'd move to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same? Motion carries. Action item number 7 is the consideration of a request to accept the resignation of Robin Hunt from the Election Commission and to appoint a replacement to fulfill the remainder of her term, which ends on November 20th, 2028.
Well, this is my shortest lived term ever.
Yeah. You still average out to what, about 18, 19 years?
Something like that.
So, in lots of discussion about this, originally Robin was appointed because she had served on the election commission before. But as it turned out, it was when we were a general township, not a charter township. And I contacted MTA to ask if there was any issue, and I got from our representative there, no, there's no issue of having Robin on it at all. Joe also concurred with that thought. Trustee Reiber checked with MTA. He got the same results I did, except for he pushed a little further and got their legal department to chime in, and they came in with a different response. So we had 2 different responses from 2 different attorneys, and it was decided that it's not worth the aggravation to that. Robin was trying to do the township a favor, because by having her on the election commission, there was no stipend involved, there was no more extra payment. She's already here in the building. The meetings take place in the building during regular hours, and it was a pretty simple process. So she's agreed to step down, and we are now recommending the board appoint a different trustee to fill that vacancy.
I do want to make one tweak to what you said, Rick. I asked the same, Shelley, the same, I didn't say get a lawyer. Shelley just replied and copied.
She gave you the same response, but then you responded back to her, telling her that
To
you weren't
further
satisfied with
clarify.
that answer.
Right.
And
then
she took
was
it
the
to
one that-
legal.
Yeah, okay.
And Catherine, by the way, will also state every time she makes an opinion, check with your local attorney. So, we could take Catherine's response, no, she doesn't qualify, but check with your local attorney, and our local attorney said it was okay, so
It's not worth it.
it's not worth the aggravation.
Okay.
So, so I guess we're looking for a recommendation.
We would
Do
need
we
a
wanna-
volunteer to fill Robin's position.
Do we need to accept my resignation first?
Yes.
Okay?
I'm not gonna make that one.
I think we can do it all at once.
Can you do it all at once?
I think so.
Yeah. I think so. So if anybody would like to,
Do you have a different opinion, Mr. Stewart?
I would like a separate one on the
Okay.
resignation.
okay. So
I'll
we'll
move to
have a-
accept the resignation of Robin Hunt for the Election Commission and to appoint
Nope.
a replacement.
No, just accept the resignation.
Okay, I'll move to accept her resignation.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have support. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will ask all those in favor to say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carried.
I can vote on that.
Now we need a new member of the Election Commission.
And
Would
the
anyone like
meetings
to
are-
step forward?
The meetings are normally conducted during business hours?
They are. Yep, generally in the morning, first thing in the morning,
They can be moved.
3
though,
times
right?
a year.
You can move the meeting time, right?
The election commission will be during business hours here in the township of
What time are they generally?
Typically in the morning,
Like first thing in the morning, or?
9-ish.
I would nominate.
Would anyone
Jody.
like to throw their
Jody
hat in the
doesn't-
ring? I am not eligible.
Jody doesn't have any commissions or committees or anything else like that she's on.
That could make myself available. It's just a few
It's
times.
only a few meetings.
Absolutely.
At
Roughly
election
3.
time.
We just need someone that's flexible and available to do it and willing to do it.
And I'm
Did I
only,
hear you nominate Jody?
Like 3 miles up the road.
Yeah, I did. But then there was some clarification of what time. I think she was just
Yeah.
making sure she didn't commit to something she couldn't commit to.
Oh, absolutely.
Sounds like she's flexible enough to do it.
If you're nominating Jody, I'll second that.
Okay. Did we have a nomination? I missed it if we did.
Yes, Bill's son.
I apologize. So,
Right?
I have a motion. I have a second to nominate Jody Valenti to the Election Commission. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same? Motion carried.
One less meeting
Action
to make.
item number 8 is the consideration of approval for elected official participation in the Michigan Township Association Annual Conference and the Capitol Conference. I wrote this memo. This is I think all educational opportunities are excellent to be taken advantage of, and I encourage all of our membership to attend anything that they feel would improve their ability to serve the people. I am unable to go to the MTA conference, otherwise I would probably be interested. However, I do have an interest in attending the Capitol Conference.
Yeah, I might do that too.
That happens in Lansing, at the Capitol Center, and it's an update put on by MTA with all of your legislators. It's a chance to interact with the legislators and talk about items that affect townships specifically. None of the other minutia that kind of bogs things down. Strictly township-focused discussion at the state level. I believe Clerk Susie expressed an interest to attend that with me.
I've already registered for it.
Yep, so, and all of you are welcome to attend as well. That's why I put the information in the packet.
March 17th. Unfortunately.
No, I can't do much.
So,
Well, I only saw the Public Act 233 of any. I'm not interested in something, plus it's a work day. I'm sorry, I looked at the March 17th agenda, topics of discussion and everything else like that. And the only thing that caught my eye was PA 233, which, that's near and dear to everybody's heart here. I didn't see anything else that piqued my interest for the 17th.
that's fine, yep.
I did look at, just in case, as an option, the annual conference here is available online. I can't guarantee that it has everything in the catalog. Their online option said the 10 most popular, and that is $150 cost to take the online version of this. And I think if anybody that's interested in going there thinks that they can get the bang for the buck that they would, instead of going to, I gotta admit, this is a very expensive venture.
It is.
To go there. And $150, if you take a look at what they offer online, and that satisfies, that, hey, I was interested, I was gonna take that anyways, now I don't have to drive and eat and all that kind of stuff. I would encourage considering taking the less expensive route. I was told that this is within the budget for this
It is.
current fiscal year.
Yeah, this will actually take place in the next year, but there is space within this year as well.
Oh, that's right, our fiscal year is in April.
1.
That's right.
This will be in the next year. There is actually an option for the participants to add some video viewing of the meetings for $50, and, if they were to accidentally share that access with interested parties, you never know.
So those of you who went, is there opportunity for like networking and
Yes.
meeting other
Absolutely.
people that you
Plus,
would?
you have the trade show there, too.
It is, yeah, there's way more to it than just attending classes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I do believe,
There's an awful lot of information that's exchanged in networking, at breakfast, at lunch. That you have the trade show in between those sessions. And, as one who have done in-person training and Zoom-type training, in-person is always, always, always more valuable because your focus intent where if it's on Zoom, you could be over here on a phone call, you could do, you just don't have the same attention to it all. And you don't have that interaction at the break to talk to people.
On breaks, you recap with other people that are in the class, you
Right.
form bonds with other state government people. You get an opportunity to meet vendors, like potential vendors that we might not do business with now, but we might learn about something that they have to offer that we didn't even know about. I got to meet some GoGov people, like the people that run our app in person, and talk to them about stuff and like touch and point, and it's a lot different experience than Zoom.
Okay. I've attended other conferences, and I've always thought it was, that was a valuable part of it. Like,
Yep.
you meet connections and you can brainstorm, and
Right.
you come back with a ton of ideas, and that's always,
And I do believe,
A
Kelly,
valuable thing.
we've generally sent, 2 to 3 people to this conference for a long, long time, correct?
That is correct. The
So
community-
previous boards have
Yeah, the township has
seen value in it as well.
sent folks to participate.
Last year,
in
Todd and I attended the entire conference. Candy showed up for one day. She did a one-day conference. And this year, it looks like because of our board meeting, I know have you already registered for it?
Not yet.
Okay,
I wanted to wait until
Yeah,
this.
I registered for it for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because we have our board meeting on Monday. And I'll miss the Monday stuff, which is more of a ceremonial type thing and so forth. And then Tuesday morning early, they'll have a general meeting, which I would probably miss most of that as well. But then the workshops and everything start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So those that want to attend Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday can do that. They can get up to the Grand Traverse Resort in that time frame to make it, so.
You might even wish, so this conference on demand it's just 10 sessions. And I know when we were looking through the brochure, there were, a couple sessions at the same time that maybe you were interested in going to both. So this could even be someone attending the conference that wanted to get this on demand version, so you could go back and watch these and participate in a different one that maybe isn't part of this.
I guess my point or thought was if you really like something on Tuesday, you really like something on Wednesday, you really like something on Thursday morning, but Thursday mornings is offered online, come home a day early and take it. It's a lot cheaper to pay the $150 to get that one than $200 a night, plus a $246, plus a.
Because how much is the hotel?
I don't get paid a stipend to go.
What's that?
I don't get paid a per
How
diem
about
to
the
go
food?
there.
The township pays for the food too?
We do a per diem.
And I'm doing 2 nights, and I'm not taking one of their hotels, I'm taking one that's
Red Roof
7/10 of a
Inn?
mile away, Holiday Inn. I'd rather be at the resort, but they require a 3-night stay.
Yeah.
I think it is part of the standard serving the residents,
Yeah,
is
no,
being
I'm not
prepared.
opposed. I think even something that we signed here said maintain training or something like that, one of our bullet point items. So
Yeah.
I'm not opposed
Yeah,
to that.
no,
at
I
all.
understand.
Developing, it's
yeah,
just an
it is expensive.
Traverse City's a long way to drive.
Luckily, it's once a year. I won't lie, I liked the Grand Rapids location better, but I'm sure our good friends in the UP probably prefer the Traverse City location. So,
It's weird to think that's middle.
Yeah, it is.
with that, I would entertain a motion on action item number 8.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve elected officials' participation in the Michigan Townships Association Annual Conference and Capital Conference, if anyone so chooses.
second it.
Okay, I have a motion, I have support. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I would ask all those in favor to signify by saying aye. Aye? Opposed, the same? Motion carried. Action item number 9 is consideration of a closed session to consider a confidential written legal opinion exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute pursuant to MCL 15.268(1H). So 9A would be the consideration of a motion to enter into the closed session.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion. I have support. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will ask Clerk Susie to do a roll call, please.
Hunt,
Yes.
Ryber. Yes. Walker,
Yes.
Valente,
Yes.
Bovardo,
Yes.
Susie, yes. Spicer.
Yes.
Okay. We're going into closed session.
Okay, with that. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
We're coming back here.
Are we staying
Are we
here
staying
or-
here or going into the kitchen?
Well, it depends if we're